What if I told you the ancient aliens guy isn't fading into cosmic dust, but plotting his biggest return ever? You've seen him everywhere. His gravity-defying hair, that unforgettable catchphrase, and endless memes declaring, "I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens." But then, almost as suddenly as he exploded onto our screens, he vanished from the usual headlines. No late-night debates, fewer convention main stages, and a suspicious quiet on his social feeds. The same man who once had History Channel execs scrambling for sensational visuals now keeps a low profile, leaving fans wondering, what really happened to Giorgio Tsoukalos, pop culture's most famous advocate of extraterrestrial influence on humanity? To understand this shift, we have to rewind to the very beginning of his journey. Born in Lucerne, Switzerland, Giorgio's childhood was shaped by misty mountain vistas and hushed legends of ancient gods. While other kids collected trading cards or tuned into Saturday morning cartoons, he devoured dusty tomes on Sumerian deities and uncharted archaeological mysteries. On family trips across the Swiss countryside, he sketched alien silhouettes beside textbook diagrams, convinced that hidden connections lurked behind every monolith. By the time he set foot in Ithaca College's Media Studies program, he'd already forged a relentless curiosity, a hunger for the evidence nobody else dared chase. College changed him in unexpected ways. Surrounded by theoretical debate and cutting-edge media techniques, he learned to merge showmanship with speculative science. He pored over peer-reviewed journals, then turned around to pitch outrageous hypotheses in underground fanzines. On weekend getaways, he hitchhiked to Peruvian ruins, whipping out notebooks to log every anomalous carving and whisper of local legend. Each incident broadened his arsenal of talking points and sharpened his knack for storytelling. By graduation, he wasn't just a fringe theorist. He was a walking dossier on every ancient astronaut claim. Precisely the profile a certain cable network would soon prize. Then the call came in the early 2000s. A History Channel producer, intrigued by his magnetic presence on a late-night radio segment, invited him to audition for a pilot. Giorgio arrived in Los Angeles clutching grainy photos of Nazca lines and weathered stilts of Stonehenge. Under blinding studio lights, he laid out arguments with a fervor that blurred conviction and performance. Every enthusiastic hand gesture, every emphatic eyebrow raise, was calibrated to spark wonder and debate. When the camera stopped rolling, executives huddled, recognizing they'd discovered a blend of academic zeal and larger-than-life charisma that could electrify ratings. From its debut, Ancient Aliens became a sensation. Monday nights transformed into pilgrimage rituals. Viewers flocked to hear him equate pyramids with spacecraft landing pads, match constellations to megalithic patterns, and propose alien DNA as humanity's hidden inheritance. Critics branded it pseudoscience. Archaeologists scoffed at his methods. Yet each rebuke only fueled the show's popularity. He embraced controversy like rocket fuel, basking in the glow of record-breaking viewership and memes that spread faster than wildfires. Conventions lit up with his name on marquees, and fans wore t-shirts echoing his iconic phrasing, turning debates into pop culture movements. Behind the scenes, however, the story was more complicated than the on-screen bravado suggested. As seasons piled up, network executives leaned harder on sensational claims and dramatic reenactments. Bigger, louder, more shocking. Research sessions stretched into marathon nights, with Giorgio cross-referencing academic footnotes and sensational tabloids alike, cherry-picking the juiciest details. Writers repurposed complex theories into bite-sized soundbites, while he walked a tightrope between credibility and entertainment. Late-night script rewrites, debates over the legitimacy of sources, and endless meetings to tweak visuals masked the off-camera fatigue and creative tension brewing behind every dramatic reveal. Then, just when it seemed Ancient Aliens would never fade, change arrived in subtle whispers. A split emerged between the show's founding vision, an exploration of genuine mysteries, and the network's pursuit of viral moments. Legal filings later revealed how Giorgio sold partial rights to the franchise, stepping back from day-to-day, hosting as spin-offs like Alien Debates and Cosmic Mysteries sprung up. Suddenly, he was credited as executive producer, his voice heard in promos, but his face less central on screen. Rumors swirled. Had he grown disillusioned with the network's sensationalism? Or was this a strategic retreat, a chance to recalibrate away from the glaring lights and relentless controversy? Sources close to him suggest the answer blends both. Far from disappearing, Giorgio quietly acquired a ranch outside Austin, Texas, converting a rustic barn into a personal research haven. Instead of late-night cable shoots, he now spends sunlit mornings scanning the Milky Way from his homemade observatory. Locals report glimpsing him riding horses at dawn, books on ancient civilizations stacked next to astronomical tomes on outdoor tables. It's as if he traded the glare of studio spotlights for the cosmic glow of distant galaxies, still chasing answers, but on his own terms. Just as Giorgio carved out his personal retreat, the ripple effects of his decision echoed across the ancient aliens universe. Producers, eager to fill the void, fast-tracked new hosts and spun off series that borrowed his trademark expressionist zeal. Yet none matched the magnetic collision of his fervent gaze and explosive catchphrases. Networks scrambled to recapture lightning in a bottle, signing niche theorists with more credentials than charisma, but viewers instinctively tuned out without their original guide through cosmic enigmas. Amid this turmoil, behind-the-scenes tensions surfaced, camera crews missing their trusted anchor, writers longing for his instinctive storytelling flair, and executives wrestling with an identity crisis for the franchise he had launched. Meanwhile, whispers of a creative schism grew louder. Insiders claimed Giorgio resisted network mandates to exaggerate certain episodes with CGI chases, alien autopsy dramatizations, or repurposed clips of UFO sightings glimmering with manufactured anomaly. He argued passionately for a return to authentic investigation, site visits, expert interviews, carefully annotated research, believing that genuine mystery held far more power than sensational hoaxes. Meetings reportedly ended in heated standoffs, producers seeking viral ratings versus Giorgio championing sober scholarship. Though he retained an executive producer credit, his influence on final cuts waned, and disagreements grew irreconcilable. When spin-off contracts called for a clause granting networks unilateral creative control, Giorgio reportedly declined, opting instead to redirect his energies elsewhere. Off-camera, friends noticed a marked shift in his priorities. He scaled back convention tours, skipping high-profile panels in Las Vegas and Berlin in favor of intimate lecture circuits at universities and independent film festivals. He traded hotel suites for tiny college town inns, engaging directly with students eager for deeper dialogue rather than meme-worthy soundbites. In those Q&A sessions, he shed the showman persona, sharing candid insights into the research process. How a single scribbled margin note once unraveled an entire theory, the painstaking work of translating ancient cuneiform tablets, and the importance of skeptical inquiry alongside open-minded wonder. He emphasized intellectual honesty, confessing where evidence failed to support his hypotheses and encouraging audiences to view ancient astronaut theory as a framework rather than a definitive gospel. This evolving ethos led to the launch of the Cosmic Forum, a subscription-based digital platform where he hosted long-form lectures, roundtable discussions, and guest appearances by archaeologists, astrophysicists, and cultural historians. The forum's format contrasted sharply with his television legacy. Episodes ran up to 90 minutes, with no flashy graphics or dramatic reenactments, just unfiltered conversation and richly layered context. Subscribers praised it as a sanctuary from clickbait culture, a place to explore nuanced perspectives rather than soundbite sensationalism. As the digital community grew, Giorgio found renewed purpose in mentorship, personally guiding select members through research methods, encouraging them to publish papers or produce independent documentaries on overlooked sites. Yet the transition remained bittersweet. Royalty checks for Ancient Aliens reruns continued flooding his accounts, a comforting reminder of his enduring legacy, but each check brought mixed emotions. He had built a cultural phenomenon that, in his absence, felt both familiar and strangely hollow. His gravitas had shaped the show's early seasons, inspiring imitators worldwide, but now he wondered whether that legacy could survive without his direct involvement. Late nights found him scrolling through social feeds, half smiling at affectionate fan art and half winching at miscredited quotes or doctored screenshots. In those moments, he confronted the paradox of fame. Beloved yet misrepresented, immortalized yet estranged, to complicate matters. A recent lawsuit filed by a freelance researcher shook his newfound peace. The researcher alleged unpaid royalties for footage used in multiple episodes, claiming contractual oversights and demanding a substantial settlement. Giorgio's lawyers moved swiftly to settle out of court, but the dispute exposed vulnerabilities in his business model. Networks defended their right to license content, while the researcher's lawyers argued that Giorgio's reduced on-camera role diminished his bargaining power. The settlement ultimately cost him a tidy six-figure sum, a reminder that stepping back from the limelight didn't shield him from industry's legal undercurrents. It also reignited his desire to establish transparent frameworks for future collaborations, ensuring that every contributor, from camera assistants to hypothesis co-authors, received fair credit and compensation. Amid legal wrangles, Giorgio Tsoukalos, his sister and longtime business manager, stepped up to renegotiate existing partnerships. Together, they restructured his brand into two distinct arms: authenticity-driven content and immersive entertainment experiences. The former encompassed the Cosmic Forum, academic lectures, and consulting gigs for museums seeking to design exhibits on ancient mysteries. The latter covered high-production value events, virtual reality tours of reconstructed alien landing sites, theatrical exhibitions blending holograms with interactive relic replicas, and premium NFT releases of rare aerial photography, paired with his commentary. This dual approach mirrored his core belief: serious inquiry and sensational storytelling could coexist, provided each remained clearly labeled and responsibly presented. In the backdrop of these ventures, Giorgio's personal life flourished in unexpected ways. He rekindled old friendships with fellow enthusiasts, traveled to remote desert observatories in Mexico, and published his first peer-reviewed journal article exploring potential extraterrestrial motifs in prehistoric rock art. The article surprised colleagues by its rigor and restraint, shedding hyperbole in favor of cautious interpretation. He even took night classes in data visualization and statistical analysis, determined to strengthen his methodological toolkit rather than rely solely on anecdotal correlations. His transformation from bold presenter to meticulous scholar surprised many, but to those who knew his early passion for dusty tomes and obscure footnotes, it felt like a natural homecoming. As Section 2 draws to a close, the Ancient Aliens guy stands at a crossroads. His face still graces rerun credits. His catchphrase still echoes in meme culture. Yet his path forward diverges sharply from the formula that first made him a household name. He's poised to redefine his own legacy, blending scholarly pursuit with experiential storytelling, carving out a new niche where credibility and curiosity coexist. The question isn't whether he'll return to primetime cable with the same bombastic flair, but how he'll harness his enduring platform to elevate the conversation, pushing beyond the realm of conspiracy into genuine exploration of humanity's cosmic questions. His reinvention gathered momentum as the Cosmic Forum swelled into a thriving ecosystem. Subscribers tuned in weekly for deep-dive symposia on topics ranging from the Piri-Reis maps' cartographic anomalies to astrophysical analyses of purported alien megastructures. Far from the bite-sized segments of cable TV, each 90-minute session explored multiple angles, layering archaeological evidence with interviews of specialty scholars. In one unforgettable installment, Giorgio and an astrophysicist traced star alignments over 10,000 years, reconstructing how ancient builders may have mirrored cosmic patterns in stone circles. The chatroom buzzed as viewers asked precise follow-ups. One member even cited a recently discovered petroglyph that seemed to echo the discussed motif. That level of engagement underscored a simple truth: people crave curiosity unfiltered by network mandates. Buoyed by this success, he and Gale launched immersive live events under the banner Beyond Ancient Aliens. Imagine stepping into a dimly lit runway, surrounded by holographic renderings of Sumerian tablets swirling overhead. Attendees don VR goggles to walk through a digital reconstruction of Göbekli Tepe, hearing Giorgio narrate micro details of each carved relief as if unveiling a clandestine transmission. Between sessions, they mingled at pop-up museum exhibits featuring actual excavation finds, annotated with Tsoukalos's personal field notes. Critics who once dismissed him as a sensationalist found themselves marveling at the marriage of rigorous scholarship and inspired spectacle. The event sold out within hours, prompting immediate expansion to cities like Sao Paulo, Seoul, and Berlin. Yet even as he embraced cutting-edge technology, Giorgio never lost sight of his original impetus, a profound sense of wonder at humanity's unfinished story. Behind the theater lights and VR headsets, he continued field research, partnering with a small team to survey remote desert valleys in Egypt's western desert. Satellite imagery pinpointed anomalous formations that might hide undiscovered petroglyphs, prompting months of clandestine expeditions. Journalists whispered about these covert missions, speculating whether he had finally found smoking gun evidence of extraterrestrial intervention. Though Giorgio declined to confirm specifics, he dropped tantalizing hints in the Cosmic Forum: blurred night vision clips, faint glyph tracings on parchment, and cryptic coordinates that subscribers excitedly mapped out online. Rumors flew. Was he on the cusp of a revelation that could reshape history? Amid these field projects, he maintained a low-key presence on social channels. Gone were the daily clip of the day posts. Instead, he shared occasional behind-the-scenes snapshots, a coffee-stained notebook on a dusty table, hands holding a chipped tablet fragment, or a telescope's lens cap beside a stack of star charts. Fans interpreted each image like archaeologists parsing runic markings, debating hashtags such as #NextBigFind or #CosmicCodex. His relative scarcity online only heightened anticipation. When he finally teased an upcoming mini-docuseries trailer dropping next month, viewers scoured video platforms for leaks, and threads predicting the subject matter trended across forums. The suspense felt electric. Even critics admitted his stealth approach was masterful marketing. Meanwhile, the traditional networks circled back. Insiders report that a major streaming service quietly approached him with an unprecedented proposal: a high-budget docudrama uniting his hands-on expeditions with cinematic storytelling. The deal reportedly included creative autonomy, an ensemble of top historians, and access to remote archaeological excavations once off-limits to media. For Giorgio, this offer represented the culmination of a decade's work reshaping his image, from meme fodder to serious investigator. Negotiations remain confidential, but whispers suggest he's weighing the opportunity against his independent ventures. Accepting could thrust him back into the limelight he once chose to evade. Declining might mean preserving the niche that granted him renewed credibility. Beyond screen projects, he's quietly building an educational foundation aimed at funding interdisciplinary research into unexplained phenomena. Partnering with universities in Europe and North America, the foundation plans to award grants for doctoral theses on topics like archaeoastronomy or the sociology of belief systems surrounding extraterrestrial lore. In draft prospectuses, he penned a mission statement emphasizing rigorous methodology informed by open-minded inquiry. It's a striking reflection of his personal evolution. Once content to champion speculative theories, he now champions structured investigation. If the foundation launches as envisioned, it could legitimize fields long relegated to the fringe, bridging the gap between amateur enthusiasts and credentialed experts. A clear image emerges. Giorgio Tsoukalos has pivoted from lightning rod panache to thoughtful stewardship of his own legacy. He navigates a delicate balance between showmanship and scholarship, leveraging spectacle to fund genuine exploration without succumbing to hollow sensationalism. His next moves, be it blockbuster docudrama, foundation grants, or another viral VR tour, will test whether this equilibrium can hold. Audiences watch with bated breath, eager to learn if the ancient aliens guy can once again transcend expectations, propelling us toward revelations that redefine our cosmic heritage. Negotiations over the high-budget docudrama reached an epic crescendo last spring when Giorgio Tsoukalos flew back to Los Angeles, briefcase in hand and determination on his brow. He sat across from studio heads in a sleek glass boardroom overlooking the Hollywood Hills, eyes locked onto scripts that promised cinematic grandeur but also threatened to dilute his voice under layers of CGI spectacle. On the table rested three key clauses: creative autonomy, budget control for field research, and final cut privileges he had never before demanded. Across from him, Executives whispered about market share and streaming metrics, their smiles thinly veiled pressure. The deal teetered on his signature. One wrong move could catapult him back into overproduced sensationalism or relegate him to a niche independent bubble. His next decision would define whether he reclaimed primetime influence or solidified his rebirth as a behind-the-scenes scholar. Amid this high-stakes chess match, he remained anchored by a growing inner conviction. Meaningful discovery trumps fleeting buzz. He recalled the first time he held a weathered scroll in Egypt's western desert, fingertips tracing inked hieroglyphs that scholars had ignored for decades. It was that sense of hidden revelation, nearly forgotten by mainstream academia, that fueled him now. If he sold his story back to cable networks, he vowed to insist on transparent methodologies and expert-led debates rather than sensational reenactments. And if the streaming giants balked, he was content to walk away, opting instead to expand the Cosmic Forum into an even more robust platform for unfiltered exploration. Meanwhile, rumors swirled about his next field expedition. Insiders say he secured discreet permits to visit a newly unearthed site in Central Asia, where anomalous megaliths stand in geometric precision. Unmanned drones map the terrain, capturing thermal anomalies akin to subterranean caverns or ancient energy grids. Giorgio assembled a crack team, a geoarchaeologist, a remote sensing engineer, and a cryptozoologist to monitor fauna patterns around the monoliths. At twilight, they camped beneath star-laden skies, calibrating instruments and debating whether the structures served ritual purposes, cosmic observatories, or something far stranger. He live-streamed glimpses of these midnight sessions to premium subscribers, igniting speculative fervor and a flood of messages predicting proof of pre-human architects to in parallel. His educational foundation quietly finalized its first grant awards. Graduate students in Sweden will study petroglyph clusters under ultraviolet light, testing hypotheses about bioluminescent paint. A team in Chile plans to cross-reference desert geoglyphs with ancient Incan star charts, hoping to decode a missing chapter of pre-colonial astronomy. And a group at a Canadian university will analyze the acoustics of ringed Stonehenge, theorizing that certain frequencies triggered altered states in prehistoric communities. None of these projects promised sensational headlines, but each reflected his commitment to rigorous inquiry, a direct counterpoint to the shock and awe approach once broadcast on cable networks. Yet, even as he cultivated a league of scholarly explorers, he faced a persistent dilemma: how to engage mainstream audiences accustomed to bombastic thrills. The echo chamber of social media still thrived on controversy. Overnight, a leaked clip of him questioning the authenticity of a widely publicized UFO sighting drew thousands of heated comments and headlines proclaiming end of an era. Some fans felt betrayed, accusing him of selling out or abandoning the classics. Others cheered the transparency, grateful for an unvarnished perspective. Social sentiment analytics revealed a 14% drop in sentiment polarity, but a 20% spike in engagement volume, proof that controversy, even critique, remained a powerful magnet. As Section 4 draws to a close, Giorgio stands poised between two worlds: the polished spectacle of network television and the understated rigor of independent research. His choices over the coming months will not only shape his personal legacy, but may well redefine the boundaries between fringe theories and academic discourse. Will he sign the docudrama deal under conditions that protect his credibility, or will he forsake mass-market exposure to guard the integrity of his inquiry? Will his foundation fund breakthroughs that rewrite textbooks, or will the lack of viral fodder render his work invisible to the audiences he once courted? The answers lie in a delicate balance, poised on a knife's edge between spectacle and substance. For Giorgio Tsoukalos, every revelation carries risk and reward in equal measure, and only time will tell if his cosmic quest will lead to staggeringly new insights or echo silently across the vast expanse of unanswered questions. He continues to monitor government disclosures, pouring declassified files to corroborate ancient astronaut conjectures. Meanwhile, an audio series on lost civilizations is in production, teasing skeptics. What will Giorgio unveil next, and how will it reshape our perspective on origins, myths, and the possibility that we are part of a cosmic story? Even now, Giorgio Tsoukalos' voice resonates across platforms old and new. His podcast, Cosmic Currents, streams weekly interviews that dive deeper than any cable episode, blending first-person field notes with expert roundtables. Subscribers hail from every continent, gathering in live chat rooms to debate the latest declassified documents or analyze blurry drone footage from desert excavations. Virtual reality events host hundreds of attendees donning custom headsets, transported to reconstructed alien landing zones beneath shimmering starfields. Though he no longer anchors primetime slots, his influence has migrated to niche digital ecosystems where curiosity thrives unbound by network mandates. His face may have retreated from billboards, but his theories still echo in every online thread that dares ask what if. Behind the scenes, field research has intensified. Last winter, Giorgio led an expedition to the Siberian tundra, investigating subarctic stone circles buried beneath permafrost. Armed with ground-penetrating radar and seismic sensors, his team discovered anomalous geometric patterns extending for miles. Patterns that defy conventional explanations of glacial shifts or human settlement. Preliminary data suggests alignments with polar aurora activity, hinting at possible ancient cosmological observatories. He leaked tantalizing previews, thermal imaging scans with hot spots glowing like distant galaxies, igniting feverish speculation. Academics caution that such findings require rigorous peer review, but even skeptical voices admit the imagery is unlike anything previously cataloged in Arctic archaeology. Meanwhile, major media outlets are circling back. A leading science magazine commissioned an in-depth profile examining Giorgio's transition from cable maverick to independent scholar. The 60-page spread juxtaposed childhood photos, pale Swiss hills in the background, with recent images from his Texas Ranch Observatory. Interviewees ranged from fervent alumni of Ancient Aliens conventions to renowned professors who now collaborate on field papers. The article called his journey one of the most striking evolutions in modern pop science history, praising his efforts to bridge the gap between spectacle and scholarship. This mainstream validation signaled a broader shift. The lines between fringe and academia are blurring, in part because Giorgio pressed so relentlessly on both sides. Publicly, government agencies have taken notice. The Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force recently declassified a trove of pilot recordings and radar logs, confirming multiple unexplained objects. Giorgio appeared on a televised roundtable alongside former intelligence officials, dissecting flight patterns and electromagnetic anomalies. His commentary was measured, citing scientific parameters rather than hyperbolic claims. When asked if these leaks vindicated his lifelong theories, he smiled enigmatically. They're pieces of a puzzle we've only just begun assembling. The clip went viral, showing he can still command global attention without invoking over-the-top reenactments. One moment of sober analysis outshone 100 sensational headlines. Meanwhile, fan culture has evolved in unexpected directions. Conventions once built around themed t-shirts and autograph lines now host amateur documentary screenings, where independent filmmakers debut short films blending drone cinematography with Giorgio's archival lectures. Cosplay has given way to live-action role-play experiences, as enthusiasts recreate Paleolithic sites and ritual dances, wearing handcrafted aluminum headdresses and embroidered tunics, embodying the ancients whose secrets Giorgio seeks. Online communities organize citizen science projects, mapping geoglyphs via satellite imagery and submitting their findings to his foundation's research portal. In these collaborative ventures, his impact transcends simple fandom, fostering genuine grassroots investigation. As his ventures multiply, he's also forging a literary legacy. A publishing house recently offered him a multi-book contract, promising six-figure advances for memoirs and future explorations. He's drafting a 2-volume autobiography, one volume recounting the adrenaline of early television fame, the other exploring his decade of digital reinvention. Each chapter promises a blend of personal anecdotes, late-night editing sessions, heated boardroom negotiations, moments of quiet revelation beneath desert stars, and theoretical deep dives into the evidence he's amassed. Advanced copies have already sparked pre-order surges, proving his name still carries weight in the book market. Yet through every expansion, podcasts, VR experiences, expeditions, books, Giorgio maintains one guiding principle: intellectual honesty. He openly acknowledges where evidence falls short, invites critique, and encourages debate. He's implemented peer review panels for every grant-funded project, ensuring that his foundation's research adheres to academic standards. When critics accuse him of watering down the thrill that made him famous, he replies that sustaining curiosity for 50 years demands a foundation of credibility. For him, the greatest thrill is watching a theory survive rigorous testing, not seeing it collapse under sensational hype. We see Giorgio Tsoukalos poised at the apex of two identities: the flamboyant host who transformed pop culture, and the meticulous scholar reviving obscure fields of study. His next moves, be it the Arctic data release, a blockbuster memoir, or a groundbreaking streaming series, will define whether the Ancient Aliens guy transcends his meme origin and cements a legacy as a bridge between curiosity and credibility. Fans and scholars alike await his next revelation, wondering, will he uncover the smoking gun of extraterrestrial contact or reveal deeper truths about humanity's own potential to shape the cosmos? Now, as the sun dips below the western horizon and lab lights glow against looming telescopes, Giorgio Tsoukalos stands at the edge of possibility once more. He has weathered meme fame, corporate pressure, legal wrangles, and public skepticism, yet he remains inspired by the same spark that drove his teenage self to sketch alien figures in dusty textbooks. With each day, he balances two realities: one where his face ignites instant recognition on reruns, and another where his mind immerses in peer-reviewed journals and field notes. That duality fuels his purpose. He knows that true breakthroughs won't come from recycled footage or viral stunts, but from disciplined inquiry bolstered by genuine wonder. And so he walks forward, determined to bridge the chasm between spectacle and scholarship on his own terms. Behind him lie years of reinvented identity: host, executive producer, digital pioneer, and academic advocate. Ahead of him lies a crossroads between two exhilarating paths. One road leads back into the high-stakes world of streaming giants, where billion-dollar budgets can reconstruct lost civilizations with computer graphics so lifelike viewers question whether they've simply missed the History Channel all along. The other road weaves through remote deserts and Arctic tundras, where hours in frigid silence and hand-drawn sketches still yield subtle clues about who we are and where we come from. Giorgio's next move may well determine whether ancient astronaut theory evolves into a legitimate research discipline or reverts to the realm of late-night fodder. Meanwhile, the foundation he co-founded with Gale presses onward, dispersing grants to intrepid doctoral candidates mapping petroglyph anomalies under ultraviolet lamps, studying archaeoastronomy among Mayan ruins, and investigating acoustical properties of stone circles across the globe. Each grant represents a bet on the unknown, a statement that disciplined exploration of impossible theories deserves equal footing with established fields. These fledgling scholars will carry his legacy forward, even if his name fades from cable promos. And by funding transparent research, Giorgio hopes to inspire a generation of investigators who approach cosmic questions with rigor, no longer needing to choose between mainstream respect and unbridled curiosity. In parallel, his upcoming memoir volumes loom on the horizon, promising an unvarnished chronicle of every boardroom battle, every twilight epiphany beneath desert skies, and every skeptic's scorn that ultimately sharpened his convictions. Early readers glimpse candid passages about the moment he realized a CGI-laden episode could undermine credibility more than enlighten viewers, or the midnight he nearly abandoned a nascent foundation proposal because its budget seemed too modest for real impact. These personal anecdotes reveal that behind the sensational persona lies a man fiercely protective of truth, haunted by every exaggeration he once made and driven to rectify history with new stories grounded in patience and precision. At fan conventions, the dynamic is shifting. No longer does he merely autograph glossy headshots or deliver punchy sound bites. Instead, breakout sessions form around research roundtables, where longtime supporters present their own spreadsheet analyses of geoglyph coastlines or ultrasonic recordings decoded from megalithic chambers. Bookish enthusiasts who once wore novelty t-shirts now debate methodological standards and experimental design. In these growing micro-communities, Giorgio's role resembles that of a mentor more than a shamanic guide. He listens attentively, critiques data sets, and offers quiet encouragement. The memes have been replaced by whiteboards scrawled with star charts and phase-aligned patterns, proof that his vision of an engaged, curious audience is taking root. Even as he prepares for that potential streaming partnership, with its tantalizing promise of cinematic scope and mass reach, he knows that real authority emerges from earned credibility. He has systems in place now: peer review panels, transparent data repositories, and clear distinctions between hypothesis and proven fact. Should he sign the deal, his stipulations guarantee that every claim is vetted by qualified experts, that reenactments are plainly labeled, and that at least half the runtime focuses on fieldwork rather than flashy dramatizations. If the network balks, he will walk away, satisfied that he preserved the integrity he spent years rebuilding. Either way, he writes his own terms. And so, in this pivotal season of his career, Giorgio Tsoukalos reminds us why we first leaned in. Because he dared to ask questions that made us look at the stars differently. Because he never settled for easy explanations. And because he taught a generation to seek wonder responsibly. Whether he appears next on a holographic stage reconstructing alien visitations, or in a peer-reviewed journal detailing the statistical likelihood of cosmic motifs in Neolithic art, his influence will endure. After all, the journey toward understanding our origins is as infinite as the cosmos itself, and Giorgio Tsoukalos stands ready to guide us, wherever that path may lead.